where I have one of my most favorite shows, Pause, with Honey and Robyn. Take it away, Robyn.
Hey everybody! Yay! And it feels good to be back. I've got my bifocals on. Let me take them off so I look good in the camera. It feels good to be back. We've been out of commission because Ohio, Cleveland, we froze over, and we couldn't get to the studio. We got hit with a whole lot of snow, and no matter how hard we tried, and then we was gonna talk bad about the preachers, and God was like, "Yeah, no, y'all can't talk about the preachers." So, we might still talk about them a little bit today, but God didn't want us to come in the studio, but we here today, and I'm just glad to be back in the studio. I'm glad to be back with my girl, Honey.
Hey, Robyn.
Hey,
Welcome back.
sis. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you, of course.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too. So today we talking about mind your business.
Mind your business,
Mind
girl.
your business.
Don't you have enough of your own?
Right.
Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Ooh.
And so we got twofold topics on this mind your business. First, as we talk about mind your business, how you doing on your goals for 2022? We 1 month in while we worried about everything else. How you doing? How you coming in at those goals? And then we're going to talk about some other stuff as far as boundaries and respect when it comes to social media. And we're going to delve into that a lot and some of the things that we've been seeing. So first, let's just see, where we at 2022. How you doing so far in the year?
I am probably like everybody else, still trying to get your balance, still trying to figure out, am I really in a new year? Still trying to say, let's go forth. Still kind of dealing with the reels of COVID, not for me personally, but all that is done to the normalcy of your life. Just still trying to get some normalcy. And I know I'm not alone because just life keeps vacillating. You never know from day to day. This is probably the first time in my life I've ever had this much indecisiveness. From day to day, a school could close, a company could be virtual one day, and then hybrid the next, and then in person the next. And so I think it's all just getting the bearings and trying to decide what is mine for this year and going after it.
Right.
And not trying to talk about, and I'm not coming down on those who live their lives based off of resolutions and vision boards. Mm-hmm. I'm just resolute that I'm not going to plan to the level that is either unrealistic or it's a bunch of magazines cut out on a board.
Yeah.
But it's not my life. And
I already told you I'm over the vision board.
Mm-hmm.
I had some friends who wanted to do that. So first of all, I ain't about to go driving all over getting those magazines.
Come on.
They cluster up your closet or some space for a whole year.
Come on.
There's a way to do it virtually, which I thought might be cool. But, just really honing in on one or two things and making that actually come true.
Yeah.
I think at some point a vision board becomes a wish list.
Yeah.
We're not wishing upon a star anymore. We're going to actually manifest and make some stuff happen this year.
And I think for me, February 1st is the start of my year. I took all of January really to kind of clean up some stuff that was left over from the last year, and I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. So now I'm prepared to run. Let's go, honey. Let's go. And so February becomes the clock is ticking moment with no pressure for me. So I'm ready.
Okay. So with me, how am I doing this year? Just trying to get back in the swing of things with classes. I don't know if I told y'all, I failed my stats course. So I'm in school, I'm working on my doctorate, and I actually figured out the whole statistics parts. I got it. It all came together. But I messed up the a lit review part, and it was because I was rushing and not paying attention to the details. Mm-hmm. And so the lesson is to pay attention to the details, to slow down and make sure I am paying attention to the details. So I didn't fulfill the requirements of the grading rubric for that one assignment that could have put me over to the point requirement for the class. And so it's a costly mistake. I'm going to have to take the class all over again. I'm going to have to subscribe to software and whatnot. So some other things happened during that time. I had lost 2 uncles and I caught COVID. And the professor was like, sorry to hear that, and just kept it going. And so you got to learn that sometimes in life happens and life keeps going. And you still have to make a decision of whether or not you going to keep going with it or you going to start over or whatever. So this was a setback for me. But I am going to continue to move forward. I'll take that class now though. So right now I'm taking some classes and I'm having to reset my, how do I want to say it? My focus so that I am not cramming and trying to, not, I want to put my best foot forward.
Yeah.
And so making sure when I'm doing my assignments, I got the grading rubric up, making sure I'm checking off everything that's on there, make sure I'm meeting every requirement so that I am doing the absolute best at everything. And so, because I think for me, things have always come easy.
Yeah.
And so this is my stretching of, work harder.
Yeah.
More dedication. So where I'm at this month, I'm being stretched, but I like it. Mm-hmm. I'm being stretched.
Yeah. And I think it's okay because I am a person, I'm pretty jealous of Robyn right now because she's in school. I love school. I like just sitting around with all your concordance and all your Bibles and everything around, or at least right now as I'm thinking about seminary, I can't wait to be in that position where you're up studying all night, you researching. So usually if I see her post something, I'm either going to buy that book or I'm going to think about it and read. I love that type of research and study. I do think as you talk about this new year, you can't have everything that you want this year. And that probably shocks somebody. That seems kind of oxymoronic. You've got to choose what needs to be on your plate. On Thanksgiving, where they just pile all that crap, and I don't like my food to touch. I'm one of those kind of weird people.
I love it.
I don't put all your food in one big sloppy mess, and everything is dripping on top of each other. If somebody makes my plate like that, no offense, thank you, but I'm just going to look like, who in the world is going to eat that? I don't want my food running over. And I'm a big person who just don't like food like that. I
love it. You got to have like a piece of something on everything on the fork for me. Get little greens, little yams,
a little
this, little.
You got to choose.
The flavors got to marry.
I don't want my flavors to get along. Don't get along. Don't touch. Don't mingle. Everybody is very segregated on my plate.
Oh, Lord.
I gave the list
don't even know how to eat.
a few days. Somebody else said that. You don't know how to eat. Somebody said, girl, what kind of black eating are you? Let me give you the list. I'm not going to give y'all a full list on a Monday, but let me give you a partial list because people often ask, what do you eat on Thanksgiving? This is a partial list of the things I don't eat. Y'all ready? Buckle up.
Oh, Lord.
I don't eat dressing.
What in the world?
I don't eat cornbread.
I don't know you.
I don't eat waffles.
Huh?
I don't eat pancakes. I don't eat grits. I don't eat peach cobbler.
What is wrong with you?
I don't eat, the list goes on and on. Of course, I don't eat ham or anything that came from the pig. I don't eat hamburgers or anything that came from the cow. I don't eat coleslaw. I don't eat potato salad.
I've been craving coleslaw.
I don't eat baked potatoes. I don't eat French fries. And the list goes on and on. I don't eat anything that's wet or dry. So it's a texture thing. So if anything is too dry or too wet, like cornbread, that's just too dry. Biscuits, just too dry. So
but remember we had them good biscuits though when we went to that restaurant? So if it's a good biscuit, you're going to eat it.
It can't be dry. It has to be
It's got to be the right.
It has to be.
Because that one restaurant we went to, they had that really good biscuit with that butter. They pour that butter on top.
And I ate it?
You ate it. Yes,
If I ate it, that's pretty miraculous. Because usually anything that's in the bread family or anything that's I'm just not going to eat it.
We was really hungry. They took a long time feeding us though. But you ate that biscuit.
And if you try to feed me something where the food, I already don't like a whole lot of stuff. Very finicky fat eater. A finicky fat eater.
But you ain't. But
and
what
it
do
don't
you
touch.
eat? But you just eat salad.
I like salad, of course. Shut up, Robyn. I like salad. I like little sweet potatoes, a little seafood. I'm just a fat picky eater. So what have I eaten today? I had a little pasta early, so I like pasta. But I don't like my food to touch. I don't like things all integrated and all over each other. And I don't like stuff like banana pudding. So you got wet and dry all put together. That's just doing too much. Cobblers, doing too much. Apple pie, no, I'm not going to eat anything. You wet and it's fruit cooked and it's all together. I'm not eating that. So there's hardly nothing
We
on
could
the
never
on the
travel.
Thanksgiving.
We could never travel because the whole point of going traveling somewhere is to find a restaurant that got the good food, and then to dance when you eating the food, and then I will praise the Lord.
Well, I can dance, glory. I can do all of that, but the food just can't touch while I'm dancing. The food can't have their own dance party and start touching each other. Nah,
It got to be that good.
So people laugh all the time. Like, what type of black eater are you? We laughed a few weeks ago about me never being able to play a game of spades. I don't play spades. I never played a game of cards in my
Bring
life.
this up.
So people ask, what type of HBCU did you go to? How are you black? You don't eat nothing. You don't play nothing.
She was so super saved. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was.
She was
Maybe
like living holy, like.
I was. I was just trying to preach to the world back in them days, and missed out on life. That's another whole story. But I will. I tell young, I tell young people now: go to college, have balance, be saved, and for the Lord, but have a little balance.
Too saved to even enjoy your food.
I never went to a pep rally. Never went to any of the stuff normal kids went to because I was too busy at the church.
Yeah.
We preaching for the Lord, starting the full gospel. At that time, so no dressing. Dressing is dry and wet. I mean that's just too much. No, but I will eat macaroni and cheese, but it's got to be right. Somebody made me some macaroni and cheese this week. No, it wasn't right. And so I'm just a very, very, very finicky eater. Very finicky.
I don't even know how we got on that tangent.
Yeah, I know, but you know.
But I'm gonna be praying for you though. I'm gonna put you on the list.
And I'm probably never gonna change at this point. But I stay up all night. I just posted something about food on my page, and I cook all night. So I cook everything my family wants. I cook through the night, and everybody have a different.
And she be throwing down. That's a crazy thing. Be throwing down. Don't eat nothing.
Don't eat nothing. Last night I cooked pork chops because Sugar eat pork. My mother don't eat pork. I made turkey chops for her, split them up. I cooked chicken for the week. I cooked potatoes and onions. I cook whatever you want because my heart, and this does kind of lead into the subject, my heart is such a pleaser. I want to make you happy. I do. And so in doing that, you have to be very careful that you don't make yourself last.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I'm working on this year. Make sure you follow your goals and your intentions, but don't make your love, compassion, and care for another person, thing, or entity greater than what God puts in you. That is not God's intention for you being a servant of Him. It's not to put yourself last.
Right. Now, speaking on that, putting yourself last, how holistic are your goals so far? Like, I have been drinking, but I did terrible today, a gallon of water a day. That has been part of my goals. And that actually started, I started it with the gallon of water probably after Thanksgiving. But I started becoming more aware of some of the healthy things I was doing. But after Thanksgiving and I got on that scale, I was like, this is ridiculous at how the scale keeps going up. And I knew I needed to shock my system. So I went to a drastic change quickly.
That's drastic.
A gallon of water a day, and I started doing low carb because my body was not, I'm not a big eater, but it was not losing any weight. And I said, something is going on with my metabolism. I need to shock it. So I did that. And so the scale started going back down slowly, but it's going back down.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But, you know, as we are goal diggers and we are goal setters and we in our vision boards and we starting to crush these goals and going after business and seeking the bag and all that stuff, rarely do we see a lot of times on those vision boards and goals and everything, do we see meditation and prayer and spiritual care and physical care and just I started taking vitamins. I started seeing a nutritionist in the summer, and I didn't start implementing it until a few months ago, or actually about a month or so ago. I started taking the vitamins that she told me to take because the way that your body will burn calories, in fact, if you don't have certain vitamins in your body's not going to burn fat and calories. So making sure I had vitamin D, making sure I had vitamin C, making sure I had calcium in my body, making sure I was taking the prebiotics and probiotics that she was recommending, because healthy gut health will help you digest your food properly and not just store it all as fat. So doing all this stuff to get myself properly feeling good. And so though I'm not losing the weight as rapidly, but one thing I've noticed, normally the winter hurts me. I hurt. And I'm like, I hate the winter. I hate being in Cleveland. And I'm always like, as soon as Bree's out of out of school, I'm out of here because it hurts.
Yeah.
Now I still got my back issues, but they're not as bad either. But the joints don't hurt like they normally do. My knees and ankles and my arms. I'm not feeling what I normally feel every time the weather turns frigid like it is. And so I'm like, well, maybe there's something to this taking care of yourself business. You know, I'm not no young 20 no more, so I really do need to make sure.
You ain't 20, girl?
No. You know,
Okay.
I'm 40 something. You know,
We the same age. We the same age.
Right. But there is something to this thing of taking care of the temple.
Yeah.
So I'm really into that right now, and so there are some other business stuff I do want to do, but right now I'm really liking the fact that I feel good and my head feels clear, and I'm not as winded as I once was, and I can get up and not be like every time. I mean, I might grunt a little bit, but not as bad as I was.
Yeah. Well, I'm not ashamed to admit I'm probably on the opposite end of that. But at least I'm on the opposite end of that, looking at February saying, okay, it's time to get started. I think what I have done is to be comfortable in and it's so easy. And I know if I'm there, somebody listening might be there too. It's so easy for me to say, okay, yes, I have this expensive, and I'm lifetime. That's a very expensive gym membership. Mm-hmm. How many years, ladies, do we pay for these memberships that we don't use? But I can't get up because I have somebody in my care with dementia that I need to take care of. I have somebody in my care who's disabled that I need to take care of. So it's easier for me to give the excuses of all that's on my plate and put me last. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying starting February, I have done some little things that are about my wellness. One, of course, is vitamin D. Mm-hmm. I know in the winter months what SAD does to my just spirit, my nature. Being so used to the sun, having lived in Florida so many years, I know what those winter months do to me. So I don't fail at least taking the vitamin D. And the other thing that I have done pretty consistently for me as my gift, I have a massage therapist come to me.
I gotta give me one of those.
And I told you that this is no joke. Anybody who I allow, because I'm such a very private, very personal person, and a non-touch person, period. So if I allow you in my space to physically, if you're my makeup artist, anybody who put their hands on me, you've got to be in a certain place spiritually. So you're not just touching me, you're in prayer too. And that's what the massage therapist said this week. I am honored to be praying for you in this time period.
Right. And I got to give me one of those, because what we don't realize is everything ain't about going to get a pill to fix everything.
Come on.
And I'm not knocking medicine because we need that.
Yeah.
But how much can we do some preventative medicine?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to not make it feel like something is wrong with you. It's not wrong with you. It's common sense to take care of you. I need to be this year, is what I'm telling myself. Honey, number one, you got to admit there's a problem, because to God be all glory. I have been very well as a fat person. I have. Mm-hmm. The stuff that typically bothers fat people don't bother me. Not being funny, but there's no diabetes, there's no high blood pressure, there's none of these other things. I got a bad leg, one bad knee. So because I have all that energy, and when I vacation, I'm jumping off of everything that I can jump off. I'm riding everything I can ride, horses in the Mojave Desert. I'm on jet skis. I'm on, what's those three-wheeler bikes in the mountains?
Oh, yeah, the ATVs.
ATVs. Mm-hmm. I'm doing all this stuff. So what it has done is tricked me to think I'm okay. Mm-hmm. Ain't that like the enemy? Right. Because you can do all this, honey, you well. You're not well, baby, because 300 pounds on your heart is not well. Mm-hmm. So my first step of wellness hasn't been the action. It's been the painful admitting that you must get well. Mm-hmm. So step one for me, I haven't started the water. I haven't started that. I needed to admit, just because you think you're okay, because even if you go up a size, you have a seamstress, she'll just make the dresses a size up. So I don't never really feel the burden of the weight.
Right.
I don't feel the burden of the clothes don't fit. Okay, got a private seamstress. She'll just make the stuff. And you go up and up and up and up, and you give yourself excuses. So now this year, God has been impressing on my heart. You cannot be fully who I need you to be if your body can't sustain the work that I need for you to do. And so I'm like, God, no, I'm good. I'm like, you're not good, baby. You can't hardly walk. So
Right.
So that level of honesty is the first step for me. And for anybody else, as you're writing your goals or your plan for the year, step number one, you got to be honest and real with you. What you willing to change and give up? That's how we started the conversation about the plate. You can't have all of these things on your plate dripping and bleeding together, and you still think you're going to eat what only sustains and fill you. Because some of that stuff that you don't need has dripped over into. You don't need some of them relationships. It's dripping over into what's healthy for you. I'm not preaching. I'm just saying.
Right.
You don't need some of these extra things from 2021 that's on your plate. So step number one, before you get too deep into your goals, you got to take some stuff off of your plate so you can separate and eat your food, not all running together.
Right.
Like Robyn talked
Well,
about. Separate food.
How about this? Get a smaller plate. I've started eating on a saucer.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, sometimes we just be piling on the plate just to be piling it on.
Yeah, because it's there and you see it.
Because it's there. And it
Yeah.
looks good. It looks good to look so busy sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't it look good to be like, look, I got all this going on. I got this. I got these businesses. I got multiple streams of income. I got this going on. I'm on this ministry and I'm on that ministry and I'm on the auxiliary board and I'm raising funds for this fundraising. I'm doing. It looks good to have a full plate,
Yeah.
but it's not healthy for you to have a full plate.
Yeah.
And when I started using a saucer instead of a plate and realized I was full.
Yeah.
That was sustaining me enough and I had the proper amount of energy from that, and I wasn't slothful and I wasn't tired and I wasn't burnt out. Then I realized I didn't need all that on my plate.
Yeah.
I had to cut out a whole lot of stuff business wise just so I can feel the right amount of energy.
Yeah. And I'm just not there. And one of the lessons I'm learning is to forgive yourself and give yourself space in that space. To give myself space as I'm carving out what's right for me. To not have to apologize when you've had to carve some people, places, or things out of that when it's not healthy. When you recognize the same person only calls when they need or want something from you. I got to carve you out of my plate. You don't work for 2022 for me because my natural giving heart and giving spirit is only going to say yes. But since you drain me to the degree that you do, I've got to make some choices. And so for me, tomorrow starts my new year. As I've taken this year to make sure I've set some things in place for the people who I care for, but also to say, okay, honey, what sense does it make? And you started it, that you cook everything for everybody else and then you don't eat. What meal have I put in my mouth today outside of these 2 cookies that are staring at me?
You ain't even try to share now. You just might pull some out for yourself.
I know, right? But that doesn't completely work. So before we go any further into the topic, I want to, in our announcement time, talk about a few things that I have, if that's okay. If you're out there, because COVID is still very live, the little handy packs right here, these kits include gloves and antibacterial wipes and face masks. If you watch today, the governor's piece, the numbers are going down. Okay. Finally, thank God.
Thank God.
But we are still in some red zones in Ohio. So I gave families last week about 40 kits apiece, 40 of these. Just good to have in your car. If you need them, you can pick them up by the hundreds for me. Just feel free to inbox me, or I'll give Robyn hundreds too, and you can get them from her. Either one. The second thing that I have in excess, and I don't believe in holding on to stuff that you need, so I thought I'd bring it today, are these undergarments. If you have parents or you know nursing homes that need these are very expensive because I buy them for my mother. I just don't have them in her size, or I'd be benefiting myself. But the adult undergarments, I have them by the cases. I probably spend maybe $40 a week for my mother. So if you're somebody and you're in need, or you know a nursing home that's in need, you can feel free also to get those by the hundreds from me. So I just wanted to bring that to the studio. Some of the other things I have in excess: dishwashing liquid, cleaning supplies, anything that's COVID related that deals with cleaning, you can definitely inbox me and just no fuss or muss, pull up, and I'll put it in your trunk. You don't even have to get out your car.
All right.
Yep.
So there we go. That's the community. Doing what the community do. All right. And I'm glad to see that those numbers are going down finally.
Finally.
One of my staff is out sick with it really bad. I'm gonna, lift up, Robyn's staff member in prayer. You need to turn this around. He needs to get well. So, yeah.
And I have someone intubated right now as well, very ill, and a diabetic, and an amputee diabetic, and diabetes and COVID, if you do the research on it, is not a great mix at all. So
really?
People still need to be very, very safe and make wise decisions, especially when you're out. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to do that too. It may even impact some of the travel that I had planned. It looks like it is going to impact it for sure. But it is what it is. Better safe than sorry. I have time.
Fingers crossed. I'm going to Puerto Rico in a couple weeks.
You'll be fine.
I'll be in Puerto Rico. I need me some flan, authentic flan. And if you got an abuela who can cook me some flan, I need that hookup. I don't want no store-bought flan. I want some authentic abuela. Somebody's abuela in the kitchen and making that authentic.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Flan. It's like a dessert. It's like the Puerto Rican version of creme brulee. Okay. It is.
I went to Puerto Rico a few years ago.
I used to work on the west side with my coworkers, and they used to bring it in. Like it's don't get that store-bought stuff. You need to have somebody who know what they're doing. But see, you might not. It's custardy with this liquid, so you might not like because it's got the wetness to it.
Okay, I see what you're doing there.
I'm just saying because it's got the texture, so you may be like, you may not like it.
Probably not. But when I travel, the odd part is like when I go to Africa and I'm watching them pound the fufu and make all of these dishes. Out of respect for the culture, I try it. Yeah. I'll eat it, but it's not like I'm ever going to eat it again. Yeah. My first trip to Africa, I had taken a protein greens with me. Mm-hmm. So I just took a can. And so people ask, what did you eat the whole time? I drank my protein powder. Oh, okay. But it was a good one. So it had all the greens and what I needed. I drank the whole time, nothing else. Wow. Because I needed the nutrients, but it was, I'll eat at the table pretending. Yeah. But then when I got back to my room, I'm not going to starve. I'm about to make this drink. And that's what I ate my first time in Senegal. After that, my palate tried to force its way to some things, like plantains I love. So certain things I will eat. But the majority of what's going to be on the table, I'm not going to eat. Yeah. I'm not going to eat it all. Yeah. It's just not me. So, yeah.
Well, let's get into the topic number 2.
Yeah. Let's go.
What was topic number 2?
Topic number 2, we want to talk about minding your business. How do you go forth in this year with all the goals that we talked about and everybody else's business is yours? When you look at it's a whole lot of things going on in the media right now that when you sum it up can be summed up as if you just would mind your business, things would. The songs that come to my mind, and it comes to my mind on both issues. It's an old song, but let me sing a little piece of it. Y'all gonna know it as soon as I sing the first of it. Robyn, feel free to sing along.
You always try to get me to sing on something. Wait, she did a training for my job and tried to get me to sing. But all my staff on the team meeting, I said, Donnie, why you always trying to get me to sing?
And the staff was like, "You can sing, Robyn?"
No,
they really believed me too. And it was quite a training. That was a great training. It
was very good training.
Right, one of my favorites from the guests. But the song says, "I'm gonna make a change for once in my life." Remember that song? See the kids in the streets without enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle town. Sing with me. And a one-man soul. We follow each other on the wind, you see. 'Cause they got nowhere to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Remember that song? Michael had that right. If you spend your focus on you, how do you have time to focus on everybody else?
Right.
So one of the first people in the media that came up, and I'm not going to get too salacious with it, I want y'all throwing no tomatoes at us through the screen, is this situation with Tasha K. Did y'all see this? And Cardi B.
An expensive lesson she had
What
to
an
learn.
expensive lesson this girl had to learn. So if you don't know, let me tell you. Tasha K is this blogger, right? So we all think we have the right to say and do whatever it is that we want to do. Cardi B is a hip hop rapper artist, and Tasha decided to say some things about her. And I'm not going to repeat the things that she said
we ain't got that
because
kind of money.
we ain't got none of that kind of money. But it was bad. And it wasn't just kind of bad. She went so far as to talk about the girl's child. Let me tell you what I like about Cardi B, and I'm no fan of either way it goes. Cardi B said to her, cease and desist, boo. She said it, like, keep my name out your mouth, boo. And was so straightforward with it. She said, please, everything that you said about me is causing me distress. I'm in therapy. She went to therapy.
Yeah.
She was so distressed about it, the therapist provided her medication. That's distress about what one person thought you had the right to say. There's something about my spirit and my character. If I am doing something that you tell me offends you, I'm going to immediately cut it out. The Bible tells us to do that.
Right.
If it offends your brother or your sister, you cut it out. You stop it. She did not. She went so far as to say, I guess you have to sue me for that or over my dead body. I mean, she was that bold with it.
Why do you need to? I mean, and this is the age of social media that we're in, that we feel like we have a right and a need. Like I have a discussion going on my wall right now, and someone's argument is they shouldn't be putting their life out there in public on social media, making posts and stuff if they don't think that people want to talk about it. You feel that because they have their life in the public, that you have every right to say what you want to say about their life and draw all the conclusions that you want to make. But the reality is you can say some inflammatory things about someone, and there can be a recourse. And Tasha K learned that lesson. And I'm pretty sure she just believed everything that she was saying about her.
I don't think she did. I really don't.
You think she knew she made that stuff up?
Some of that, it was too salacious. She went so far as to start stalking this girl's friends. She called all her, she went into full stalker mode, calling her friends, everybody who was connected with her. That's why Cardi B said, and I've listened to all her post reports, enough was enough. You had attacked her friends, her family, her child, looking for the story. You was a dog. Just say some stuff that was you had no evidence, and she warned you to stop it. When the judge came down with it, they hardly deliberated before she was found guilty. And we're talking about over $1 million on one of the charges and more than that. Does Cardi B need $1 million?
No, it's not about the money.
It is not about the money.
But it's to shut you down.
It's going to shut you down, and she warned you.
This is precedent.
Yes, it is.
This is precedent.
What an expensive lesson. Keep other people's name and business out of your mouth. Now, we are not on the level of a Cardi B, or I'm just going to say Cardi B because I don't know what she thought she was doing. But on the level that you are, it could be people on your job. It could be people at your church. You don't know the story. You don't know the whole story. Keep it to yourself.
Right.
Even if it's your opinion and you think you have the right, you don't have that right to hurt another person with your opinion. Where's the line between what you think your free speech is and hurting somebody else when it's not your business? Keep it to yourself.
Right.
You got to talk. You talk about you. So it doesn't just stop with her. There are so many cases that we're seeing now in the news, especially I think when it deals with a public figure. You think you saw this with 2 Chainz and an Uber driver. That just happened. And the Uber driver was purposely disrespecting his wife just because. I think we push the limit when it comes to stars, when it comes to public figures.
We want to have something go viral. That is how desperate we are today, to have something to post to go viral.
How sick. And I think Tasha K was in that same boat. I think about people, and God forgive me because I don't want to be mean, But I think about people who I absolutely am not a fan of, like Wendy Williams. Wendy is another person who you spoke so bad about so many people. Like to this day, I think about how horrible you spoke about Whitney Houston relentlessly and didn't let it up like a dog with a bone. And some of the same struggles that you talked to this woman
Here she
about
go.
now are at your doorstep. You better be careful. You dig a ditch for somebody else, you trip and fall yourself right back in it.
Right.
Now she's not leading her own show. Somebody else is. My point to that is not to say or to celebrate her dismay. I'm just saying you be very careful.
She's now in that same limelight. She's
Yes,
in the
you
same
put your
limelight.
lips on somebody else for no good reason.
Right.
For no good reason. So I'm very careful, even if I don't like a person. Be very careful with that. And
I know there's people that has said some crazy stuff about me over the years. People, and I say plural because they ain't singling nobody out. There's people, plural. And and knowing what they've said and knowing the people, and I've never come back with the stuff I know. One guy won't let me. He just be like, shut up, Robyn, sit down. But, because I don't want to bring any of that back on me. When you get into that game of whispering and talking about people, there is a recourse. Even if you whispering or you speaking out loud, there's a recourse to that gossip and spirit. This scripture's all about it. I ain't got nothing in my head right now because I'm tired. I've been writing papers all night. But there is principles about being a gossip, and social media have given us great euphemism names for a gossip. We call them bloggers. We call them vloggers and all these other things. But all you are really just an elevated gossip.
And even if it's true, is it edifying?
Right.
Does it bring light or life to somebody else? Or I don't ever want to cover up someone's wrong, but it's not my business to uncover. And I pray that in all the places I've ever slipped in life, if you see me, Robyn, cover me. Put a blanket over me. Cover my shame. Don't put it in a space. The greatest place, and I haven't thought about this in years, the greatest time I learned how to pray is when someone did that to me.
Right.
And her name is Miss Polite. Not afraid to call her name. That's her name. Her name is Miss Polite. She was over all the dorms at Bethune-Cookman University. And I'm just a kid. I mean, I'm 17, 18. She told such an egregious lie. It shocked me. It's like, well, where's the root of this lie? There's no rhyme or reason. I was so shocked. And she told it to all the people in the dorm. It caused me such great damage. It's the first time I really learned, I'm grateful for it, to lay prostrate before the Lord and pray. I prayed and wailed out to God like I never had before. That pain of her lie taught me how to pray. Right. It taught me how to, there's worship songs back then, Ron Canoli, all these people I was in love with, their music. It was her lie that put me on my face crying before the Lord. I mention that only to say, what if you gossip and it is a person who has not connected with something stronger like prayer for me?
Right.
And right now, suicide rates in our country are up like never before. It's not our topic today, but you just saw the very beautiful former Miss USA jump off of a building.
I literally just saw a glimpse of the story before I came in today. I've been so busy.
Committed suicide.
I'm like, what happened? Who?
Committed suicide. The former very beautiful Miss USA, and a recent Miss USA, like 2019. So she committed suicide, left a note. Gorgeous young lady. If you go and you look at some of her interviews and she's talking about prison reform and all the things that she stood up for, you would ask yourself, why did she do this? And the only thing she pretty much said in her note was she wanted to make sure everything was left to her mother. And so now her grieving grandfather and family is talking about this broken space. When you look at people like Regina King's son, who just also died from suicide, and you would want to stop and ask these people what happened, why. You just never know. I'm telling you, what that dorm leader did to me, and I was a kid, and you're a grown woman, probably my age now, would have been enough to push me right here off the edge. It would have been enough for me to kill myself, and God caught me right there in the air.
Yeah.
So I'm very cautious when you push people. You never know how far you are pushing or what else behind them is pushing. You got to be careful before you put your lips or your actions on another person.
Yeah. It's a dangerous thing. We draw our conclusions. We see a snippet of something in somebody's life, and we draw conclusions, and then we go speak on those conclusions. And it's just amazing how, and we speak with authority on those conclusions.
So people believe you,
right?
Yeah,
right. And that's the thing that that baffles me. You know, we will. I remember I had that one discussion up about the young lady who made the viral TikTok video about the guy that she had that 5-minute romance with, and
yeah,
somebody was commenting there, and she was drawing some conclusions that never happened. And somebody was making, and he did this and that, and she said, and I'm watching all the stuff, and I didn't even respond to, because none of that happened. But we read into, and we draw so many conclusions into things because we're reading more,
and you want it.
We wanted some things that he said these things and he was doing this. We done got a whole movie backdrop on this thing. None of these things, but we watch a snippet of something.
Yeah.
And then we put our own conclusions on things, and we, everybody's just, this is what we do. We do this with your life. We see you put a post up yesterday.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah.
Hilarious.
And
I mean, everybody's excited and everybody's just cheering you on.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there, I put my little meme up because I'm just being a little cornball. And I saw Buddy put his little, because me and him are the only two people that's like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, what's going on?
And the post basically said, I am getting ready to go meet my Valentine and ask him, would he be mine? And I've been waiting and excited to meet him. And so I thought maybe 1 or 2 people would be like, oh, okay, honey.
She had like 100.
I had 150, 60 people.
You deserve it.
You deserve it. You go for it.
Oh my gosh, this is the moment we've been, I mean, people, I love it. I'm just so,
better be a good guy. He better be.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh man, maybe I should take this job.
Reading it into it. Oh my gosh. I'm just here like, who we talking about?
And my Valentine is my little god baby. And he's just a few months old. But I had planned on asking him. It's like, well, he could say no. So I'm going to ask him I'm going to respect his little life and his decisions. And of course, his dad was like, girl, you're so nuts. You're so crazy. But I did. But let me tell you the blessing in that though. The blessing in that, and I said this morning, because I have asked the question my whole life, pretty much, will a person like me ever marry? I'm so private and so sold out just to community. I never stopped to do that. Never. But to have so many people speaking it is what happened, is the byproduct of that. You get it? They were all speaking it as if it's coming, honey.
Yeah.
They were. No, they had bought into the belief of it.
So it's nothing wrong with them being excited for it. But the fact, some of them was like so.
Oh, they were really
so
into
sure.
it.
They were so certain.
Certain. It's just like the prophetess, and one of the prophetess, when I was preparing for Dr. Pointer's wedding, and she just came and started speaking over me. God told me, he showed me your husband. And so I'm already in my disbelief. I'm like, God ain't told you that. I mean, I'm just serious. That's what I'm thinking. She said, and he's a musician. I'm like, God ain't told you that. And so I'm sitting here. So
now see, I ain't gonna shoot that. We put prophecy on the shelf. I ain't gonna say that. Hey, we just put on the shelf and see what come of it. We gonna put it up there.
But I said, so I'm gonna be shocked one day if it. And I saw her on the post last night too.
You shouldn't say it out loud on the mic, because now every musician gonna come up to you like, hey, honey,
I'm the what.
So
yeah, I think you gotta be careful with all of that. But honestly, it made me kind of more open to the idea. I was joking. Totally joking, but to see people kind of supportive of that place, I don't know that if they knew that they were kind of speaking life into it in a way.
Speaking life into it is good, but I think some people was reading.
A whole lot of people
reading into things, and I've joked because you put a lot of codes up a lot of times, and I laugh at the codes because people who want to pretend to know you will always read, and I always put up stories just to see how people read into the stories. Like I got the Nick Cannon story up on my page right now, and people are reading into a lot. Like I mean, and I said, by what standard is he? People are saying that he's being irresponsible, and I said, by what standard?
For what? What did he do?
He's having another baby. He's got baby mamas or he's, by our cultural standard, he's got baby mamas and babies all over the place. But in his standard, he's polyamorous and he has children.
Is that what
plural.
he says? Is that how he defines himself?
That's how he defines himself.
Okay.
And so he is having the babies he wants to have.
Polyamorous is basically what?
He has multiple loves and has multiple, And so, and everyone's putting their spin on how he should be living his life. And I mean, that's fine. But to say that he is doing it because of this reason, why do you say that? Are you reading into the storyline? And then I had somebody else say, well, by the biblical standard. I said, which biblical standard? David or King Solomon? Which standard are we talking about? Mm-hmm. And then, he said, something about we no longer under law. And then, Jesus brought a new law or something he said. And, I'll go back and find out what his next reply is. Because I'm like, I need a scripture. I don't know what you're saying. But, just everyone is putting into the storyline. But he is choosing to have this. It's not like, it's not like he out here just recklessly having children that he ain't taking care of.
But do you think, and I definitely don't want to play opposite ends here.
I don't say I'm agreeing with him. I'm saying
it's his business.
It's his business.
Yeah, but when you think, and it definitely is his business. But when I look at people who are who walk this line in either sexuality or their lifestyles, and they're bisexual and trisexual and polyamorous, and they need all of this stuff to fulfill them, I just often ask, like, what's missing? When I saw him grieving recently the death of his child, I said the same thing. What's missing? Poor baby. Yeah. And I could feel his pain having lost a little young baby, not even
But
2.
you do realize there was a time not too long ago where men had multiple wives and concubines and multiple children.
Yeah.
And we never said that it was a trauma response. So we're looking at it through a cultural lens of now. We're not looking at it as, so this is when I say by what standard, we have to understand we're looking at a cultural lens of now. We're not looking at an American cultural lens of now. We're not looking at another culture of anywhere else in this world. We're not looking at it as another time period. We are looking at it as an American cultural standard of 2022.
I think we have pushed the envelope for cultural standards in 2022 to something that is, I'm not a prude, Robyn. I'm not a prude, but
I'm not saying I would never.
I just think it's
so
out of control. Some of what we have allowed to be our norm. We'll look up and we can marry an animal before we're all done.
Listen. I'm saying when I took the post, I made the post because I was going through Sam Silk's post actually, and just saw how everybody was just dragging him. And I'm like, wow, no one thinks that. Hey, that's what Nick Cannon wants to do. That's what Nick Cannon wants to do.
Yeah, I think Nick Cannon is missing something.
I don't know.
I think it's a result of something. I just don't
think...
He
said that he didn't like, he felt that the marriage to Mariah Carey was the thing that wasn't right. And
who would imagine that?
But see, if I told you how I felt about relationships, though, people might say, yeah, you out of control, Robyn. You know, because I don't fit the standard.
Wait, now things get juicy. What is your... what?
I mean, for me, marriage felt suffocating, you know? But if I say that doesn't fit the biblical standard. So now,
okay, that's fair.
That's irresponsible. So, but that's my business.
Yeah. And for me, I would say, having been a person who not only have I'm never married.
And that's not saying I would never get married again. I'm just saying.
You would never get married again?
I'm not saying I would never. I'm just saying that's everyone has their perspective on things. We don't always have to. I think one of the dangers of our culture today is that we are diagnosing everything. We diagnose everything. What's the label for? If I get one more person to call me up, What's the label for? Everything ain't got to be a label.
Yeah.
Everything ain't got to be a label. Some things is just what it is.
Yeah. I think some people, I just pray that the things that are what it is for me, that I don't spend my whole lifetime figuring it out. I hope that this next half, this next segment, that I just get it right. And marriage would be one of them. I never stopped long enough to see, I never saw anybody married in my own family, so it was never demonstrated. I never saw people really connected to their children. My sister don't know her children. My brother don't know their children. And so that does not mean, as God is dealing with me in a whole nother way, that I don't set the new paradigm. And marriage might, as he heals my heart completely. I can't believe I'm saying this mess. As he heals my heart,
Look at God.
as he heals my heart completely, to be able to say that I trust him enough that he'd send a type of covering so I don't have to so I don't have to bear the full weight of ministry on my own.
Hallelujah.
That he'll shut up, Robyn.
I'm receiving it. Let the Lord work.
That he'll do that. And so that's another level of healing that I have never been at, because my whole life I've been saying I'm strong enough to carry it. Who gets heavier and more, he doesn't, I don't believe God wants that for
pressure
me.
on that knee? Ain't that enough pressure
It
on
is.
that knee?
I don't want that for me. So there's a covering for me. I can't believe I'm saying this.
Come
mess.
on
What the
now.
heck? But oh Lord, have mercy.
Let the breakthrough happen. Let the breakthrough happen.
But I believe he's going to find me as I am finding me on a different level in God. That there's somebody else out there who's going to find me. So it's bigger than anything I've ever thought, wanted, or desired. And that's how I know it's godly, because he put the desire for it in me. To have spent a whole life sold out in ministry, never dated, never. That's crazy that you spend a life like this. And now I'm at this age and I'm saying, I can't do this anymore, Lord, on my own. And he's changing the true desires of my heart. So whoever this king is, I'll love him instantly, because he'll be an image. Okay, Robyn, you better go and change the section.
I ain't what I'm gonna take this for. We didn't even plan this show. Y'all ain't even know. We didn't plan this show. We was like, we just gonna wing it. Look at the Lord working.
Come on,
Spirit, quench
he's
not
gonna be
the
an image
spirit.
of him. So how can I not love him when he's an image of him?
Come on.
So yeah, girl.
Let the Lord work. Let the Lord work. See, look at that.
Yeah.
And we just gonna mind our own business. Let Nick Cannon do what he gonna do.
Let Nick Cannon do what he gonna do.
If he wants to rock all them babies, he gonna have babies like this. Let Nick Cannon rock all them babies like this.
The bigger point is for you to determine, what does God have for you in 2022?
For you
and
personally.
second, you personally, and what are you willing to do to get it? Because if you do the same things you did last year, if you plan and contemplate going to the gym, them pounds that Robyn talked about losing, they still gonna be on you. You got to do more than plan and contemplate. You've got to do the work. You've got to set, like these neat little folders I have now, that sets your goals on one side and your status where you can check it off every week. I'm developing these for every area of my life because it helps me inside and outside. They're great little folders I get right on Amazon. I have bunches of them in here, actually whole packs.
Let me see the folder.
So that I can help organize my work and give myself points and challenges along the way. You've got to plan your work and then work your plan and give yourself a strategy. So it's not like you have to eat the whole elephant at once, but you do have to do some strategic stuff to get that elephant eaten. Do you want one?
No.
Okay.
Because I got something on my computer that do that.
Okay. And I'm a person who, even with like journaling or calendars, I have to write it. So the computer would never work for me. I have to have it as a writer. I got to write it. So it's my thing. I got to visually see it, and this helps me. So yeah. Any last points on that, Robyn?
No. So I need some help before we log off of here. I have a conference to plan, and I need some volunteers. The Great Lakes Black Authors needs to plan this conference. I need to plan it for June. I want to do it during the week of Juneteenth. And so I'm so busy talking about that plate being full, my little saucer. I'm trying not to have to get a plate. So I need some people who will help me with this conference. So reach out to me if you want to assist. This will be our 4th conference. I'm going to do it semi in person and then stream it as well, because I don't know what this COVID's going to do. So, yeah, get at me, as the folks like to say. So, with that being said, we are out of time. Thank you for tuning in with us this week.
Thank you.
And we will
for another
see
episode
y'all
of Pause
next week.
Next week. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden.